Eric, you got me to boot into Windows.
Oh,
I
nasty.
I know. Blame me. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, geez, this is a bad sign. So it's a Broadcom manufacturer. It says it's a Dell Wireless 1560.
What have you got?
Delaware-
What have you got? What have you got? What have you got?
It's a Broadcom chip. It's in a Dell laptop. It says it's a Dell Wireless 1560 802.
What Dell laptop? Is it that new sexy shiny one with no bezels?
Yep.
Oh, you're a bad man. Is it nice?
Yeah,
Apart from the fact
it's
it
very
doesn't
nice,
work?
except for the wireless on the Antigross Live CD isn't getting picked up. So I'm trying to work back what I got to do to make this happen here, because I'd love to get it installed during the show, but I don't even know where my USB adapter is.
I'm willing to bet the Broadcom STA driver will do just fine.
All right. Well, I will be right back. I'm gonna go see if I can find the USB. Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll just share this. So in the Ubuntu documentation or Ask Ubuntu or all those various places, it says about, installing the Broadcom STA, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de.
Yeah.
And actually, what I found worked best is installing the Linux firmware package, and magic happened, and my Broadcom card in that one laptop that was a pain in the arse just works with the firmware. So I shipped that in Ubuntu Mate because it works on those machines where it says, what you really should do is, if you go into the give me additional drivers, it recommends that Broadcom STA thing, which, by the way, doesn't work for this particular chipset in my laptop, but just lobbing the Linux firmware on does. So I'd start there, because it does less damage than installing the Broadcom drivers, which, if they don't work, are a bit of an arse to then yank out.
And it has to be compiled with DKMS, yeah.
Okay, so I'll go see if I can find a USB adapter, and maybe by the end of the show I can try to get the wireless working. Oh, what? Now it doesn't see. I realized I got the Ethernet adapter all set up, but of course, guess what? All my Ethernet's in use in here right now. So I went and took a Wi-Fi adapter off of our Raspberry Pi here, and but it won't. But what if for some reason it's giving me a hard time? Here we go. Now it's prompting me for the password. So I'll be using an old Wi-Fi adapter, and then once I get it installed, hopefully I'll be able to get the drivers installed for the built-in Wi-Fi adapter. So
I've got
pre-show flight.
I've got questions for you, Chris.
All right, yeah. So as a pre-show flight right now, before we go, I'm at the Antigross Live CD. It's updating the installer right now. I've got a wireless dongle off on the side. We'll see if by the end of the show if I have a successful installation. What was your question, Mr. Wimpy?
Nice. Well, first of all, aside from proprietary Wi-Fi chipsets, is it nice?
Oh yeah. It's pretty exceptional. So it has a nice kind of nice sturdy bottom feel to it. It's definitely very thin, and it's surprisingly light. In fact, when I picked it up, I wondered if the battery was missing. And the screen is indeed touch, and the touch works under Linux, which is nice. And the glass is pretty much edge to edge. It's pretty nice. And the keyboard looks like a good-sized keyboard, and the trackpad's a good size too. So hopefully by the end of the show, I'll have working Antigross, and I'll tell you how else it works under Linux. The main thing right now for me is I'm a little worried about the Wi-Fi, which I'm sure if folks got the Sputnik edition or whatever they're going to call it, they'd probably have that worked out.
So do you think you could remove a panel on the bottom and expose the Wi-Fi chip and replace it with an Intel something works in Linux variety?
Well, it looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Torx screws, and there's a panel that pops off, and then the bottom comes off. I can see the motherboard through the ventilation, so it's probably doable.
Okay. Well, yeah, we don't want to do that yet. You don't want to bastardize it before you get started.
If the Linux firmware trick works and I can get the driver working that way, that'll probably be the way I go.
Yeah, because I'm cheap, I only buy old hardware, and the first thing I do is yank out the Broadcom things and buy an Intel something from Germany for €9 and then install that, and all your problems go away. So, do you want to hear a story from the other side of the fence? You've got this lush new Dell machine, which is felt and is an Apple Mac beater. So at work, my boss has decided that it's time for a new laptop, and it absolutely is time for a new laptop for him, and he wanted something that was relatively lightweight and super powerful. So he scoured the internet, and he asked me a few questions, and he found the HP ZBook 14 mobile workstation, which on paper is a very competent machine. It's got an i7, and it's got integrated graphics and discrete graphics, and it's got, automated flipovers and all of that good stuff. He doesn't care about Linux, so that's not an issue for him, and it just works. So he said, I want one of those. Can you get me one of those? And I said, sure, no problem.
Of course I can.
So you go to the HP website. The first thing about the HP website is, unlike any other PC manufacturer, you can only buy what they're prepared to sell you. You cannot customize a system and say, I want this with these modifications. So that sucks. So then I say, right, well, we want this one, so order that. And then he comes back to me and says, oh, no, I want the one with the touchscreen. So I say, right, no problem. So I phone up HP and said, that order that we've placed, we want to cancel that because we want to order one with the touchscreen. So they cancel the order, and then they tell me, well, there isn't one with the touchscreen. And I say, but your specification document says that there is. A week goes by, the order that we've cancelled arrives, and we have to arrange for it to be picked up and returned to them. They then tell us, oh, yeah, actually, we do make that one with the touchscreen, but it wasn't in our sales catalogue, so we're going to add that to our sales catalogue now. So another few days pass. It's in our sales catalogue. Would you like to place the order now? So, yes, I'd like to place the order now. So I order the laptop and all the extra accessories. And this is last Friday. And today I get an email out of nowhere saying, your order has been cancelled.
No.
And we don't know why, and we're not quite sure what happened. But could you phone us up and place the order again, please?
Oh, my gosh.
I hate that.
HP suck. If anyone from HP is listening, you suck. Lenovo and Dell have got you beaten hands down 6 ways of Sunday. You suck. You have wasted 3 weeks of my life to buy one fuck-mothering laptop. Waste of my arsing time, and it's not even that stellar. I've been trying to talk my boss into getting a Lenovo Carbon X1. Awful, awful, awful people.
Yeah.
Don't buy HP
It's like they don't
computers.
want to make money.
Oh, it's just crap.
I actually had a little bit of a bumpy ride with the Dell. So the Dell it's first of all, the whole buying process on the Dell website is way too cluttered. Like, I don't mean to make comparisons, but and obviously System 76 has a lot less parts, but it's so much more clear what I'm getting and if I'm getting the right one. Like on Dell's website, I fundamentally question if I'm ordering the right part under the right division, etc. So that's very confusing. Then they canceled my order at one point, but none of the accessories. So they were billing me and shipping me the next day all of the accessories instead of shipping it all as one shipment. They ship each thing independently.
So I've had the inverse of that. So today we've replaced the order, and the order is just for the laptop, but for none of the accessories that we had previously requested in the original order.
Sure.
So
then I'm like, okay, so I'm getting so then I call them up and they had to verify something about the address. So the studio here it's a duplex, so we have a unit A, a unit B, and I put the address in, and then the second address line I put unit A. Well, Dell's system wants unit A on the first address line and the street address on the second address line. And because I did those backwards, they canceled the order.
Yeah, brilliant, isn't it? Honestly, it should be buying a computer be this difficult. And the thing is that I'm going to phone them up. I'm going to put because I was busy with other stuff today, so I had to ask one of the guys in the office to sort the reorder out. But I'm going to phone them up tomorrow and give them
give them a piece of your mind, Whippet.
The air will be blue around my desk tomorrow morning because I order all of the equipment for all of the people that work in the company and all of our customers, which is not an insignificant amount of hardware, and I am not going to buy any HP equipment ever again. And my purchasing experience, you have to set as a backdrop to ordering some really sophisticated, complicated server hardware from IX Systems, and you cannot even begin to compare the difference.
Right, so much more complex too, which is ironic.
I know, a lot more complex. Each individual machine, we're talking, $30,000 per server versus a couple of $1,000s for a laptop. And takes weeks to negotiate the parts and the build and the fit. You remember those mega core systems that FreeBSD Foundation have got?
Yep,
we're buying like those, like they go out of fashion at the moment. We think they're great.
Man, I'd love to see pictures. Do you ever get to see them?
Yeah, I'll get you pictures. We've got a floor to ceiling rack of those.
Woo! Doesn't TechSnap have a discount code you could be using?
No, just the URL.
Don't you? Shall I tell you what? I first got the idea through listening to TechSnap and went off and read about IX, say August, whenever it was. And I didn't actually get round to calling them and placing an order until about 6 months later. But in the order code, it triggered the fact that I'd first visited the website from TechSnap months and months and months before and attributed the
awesome.
The thing to TechSnap.
Thank you.
Even though a lot of time had passed in between the first contact.
Maybe you're a big part of the reason why IX renewed for 2015 then.
I hope so.
I hope so. That's really
but
cool.
They make stellar kit,
aren't they? Like I really wish when I was doing IT purchasing that I think they were around for a big part of it, but I just didn't know about them. And I instead fought with folks like HP and Dell all the time.
Yeah, no, we use IX for all of our server equipment now. It's and as much as I love Linux, for firewalls we use HACom for their pfSense firewalls. They're pretty great. So they're active passive pfSense firewalls. So
they are pfSense on the software side though.
Yeah. So it is dedicated to pfSense. So it's a 1U rack with 2 blades in it. So 2 firewalls all set up with carp. No, they're quite quiet.
How much does one go for? I
think it's about $2,500, $4,000. I think by the time we'd got all the bits and bobs added.
Of course. Yeah.
So they're proper. They've got 6 Ethernet ports on each blade. So they're proper job.
So you guys want to see another gadget? So with the Dell I mentioned accessories. This I don't know if you're watching the video stream. It's about half the length of a credit card, maybe about a little more than that, and thicker. So it's I don't know what to describe it. It's smaller than a Roku. It's a small little thing. You could probably fit it in your pocket. And what it is it has a USB 3.0 plug that flips out on one side. And on one side it has VGA and HDMI out, and on the other side it has gigabit Ethernet and another USB 3.0 port. And so you plug this into the Dell, and you get HDMI, and you also get Ethernet, which I thought was probably pretty good because I'd like to have both those pretty much every time I sit down. And I think it was like $60 or maybe even less than that. So because there's no Ethernet.
That's a nifty gizmo, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's all using standard stuff, so I'm going to find out. All this is, I'm going to try to do the full review. I'm going to try to, say these accessories work and don't work and stuff. Oh yeah. Did you guys hear about this? This is a great post from Linus over the weekend. Linux kernel development halted. Linus is pretty upset, of course. He's not on the East Coast, but it's still, when it snows on the East Coast, it affects Linus pretty bad. He says, you people on the East Coast think you have it bad with snowstorms and whatever. That's nothing. My coffee maker broke, and calling the service hotline says we're not open today due to inclement weather. You guys get a little snow, and suddenly civilization breaks down. My coffee maker is broken, and nobody's answering the phone. And CNN just keeps talking about snow. What about my coffee? Priorities, people. Priorities. What am I going to do without my coffee maker? Am I just going to sit here in a corner crying? That's what. I thought that was a good post.
There was some of the comments were pretty good too. It's like, well, obviously you need your coffee maker in a raid.
Welcome to Linux Unplugged, your weekly Linux talk show that's installing all its updates and blocking kernel modules right now. My name is Chris.
And my name is Matt.
Hey there, Matt. How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
I'm excited today. I got a new laptop in that I'm messing with right now. I just got the base OS installed during the pre-show. So that's exciting.
Right,
you get that new computer smell.
Right.
Also, that new computer wireless frustration. So I've got like a wireless dongle that's hanging off the side of the thing that I took from a Raspberry Pi. But other than that, it's not so bad. So yeah, I got the new XPS 13 in.
Oh.
And it came a lot sooner than I was expecting. And I guess the Bitcoin.
Am I safe in assuming there's a Broadcom thing going on there?
Yeah, it's called a Dell wireless, but it's a Broadcom. And I guess Dell wanted to cash in those Bitcoins before they dropped any further, so they send it quick. And so I'm fighting right now as we do the show with the wireless. I got a few things. I just installed the B40 or whatever it is firmware. I got the firmware just installed, but I think I'm like halfway through there. So we'll see if I get it by the end of the show. I might get distracted by the show, but I got to say it's a nice device. So I'll give you a quick update about the laptop and my first impressions later on in the show in just a little bit, because I got a few things, and then I'll run Linux on it for a little while and give you the final opinion. I've already gotten several emails, people asking what I think about it, so I'll tell you that. Hey Matt, it's not a real Linux Unplugged without bringing in our virtual lug. So let's delay no longer. Time appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hello. So we got a great show today. Coming up on today's episode of Linux Unplugged, we're going to do the feedback like we always do. Then there's been a topic that the IRC room has been chatting about all day, It's this new Vivaldi browser. No, not the tablet. No, not the Vivaldi tablet. Stop it. No, it's a browser. And it's making a lot of waves today. And, of course, it premiered on Linux. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and I'll give you a quick demo of it in the show. There's also a couple of items to follow up on from last week's show. And then we have a little surprise for Matt at the end of the show. Ooh.
Really?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Surprise for Matt.
Surprises now.
A surprise for Matt at the end of the show. So we'll see what that's about. So let's start with a quick follow-up sort of errata from Sunday's Linux Action Show. Crossroads 1112 writes in to say, just a quick note on the Lumina desktop on Arch thing. I actually just had to rename the AOR package. It's now lumina-desktop-git to avoid confusion with the German locale. So he says, please stress also on air that it's missing some features. Most of the network management icon does not show up yet, probably because PCBSD has its own network manager. There's some upstream work to make it work with Debian. When I get time, I'll look into further Linux improvements, so it's just early. But just a reminder, the Lumina desktop, which we've talked about on the show, we've demoed it on the show, and we've interviewed Chris's brother who's working on it on this show. So I just quick follow-up to that. You can get it on the Lumina desktop. It is now moved over to Arch, but there's a few pieces missing, and the package is called Lumina-desktop-git, and Crossroads wanted me to make a quick mention of that. So there we go. Jed writes in, and I love this email. Chris, Matt, my son has finally gotten motivated to actually do something more than play Flash games on Linux. He's been using an old Dell Lappy with a broken screen hinge. I decided he could have my broken Lenovo T43. I like you just passing down broken rigs just like I do.
That's awesome.
He says, but here's the conditions. He backed up his old computer home directory using rsync. He does this, and then his own distro install, and then he installs Wine. I gave him links to some tutorials about using rsync, and he already knew how to use gedit. He installed an SSH key for his backup. He installed 14.04 Ubuntu and the XFCE weather plugin, and then we churned through a play on Linux, and he learned that we needed to move aside his previous post files and restored his backup from his files from his first laptop. So now, my 6th grader runs Guild Wars 2 from his own install effort. He made a deal to get on track and on field team in the school in the spring as sort of like a tit for tat. Matt, thank you for all the efforts on last. We cannot wait for your tutorial show. Listening since episode 1, Jed.
That's awesome. That's so cool. 6th grade, man, and he's already rocking SSHs. That's so cool.
Yeah,
I love that. I mean, that's like, wow. I'm thinking back like what I was doing in 6th grade, and it's like, had that been an option, that would not probably been what I was doing. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I wonder about like my kids. Like I want to. I started with the Chromebook, but it's just such an unreliable piece of junk when it's running just Linux, and I haven't replaced the BIOS that they nuke it from time to time. So I have like this old HP that's falling apart that they've used for a while, and I have this really old janky iMac that's old. But I was thinking about maybe putting Linux on that. But really, what my son Dylan wants it for is to play Minecraft. That's what he wants Linux for.
Kid.
Yeah, he wants Minecraft.
Respect that. Yep.
Yeah, he also would probably play around with it, but I've been thinking a lot about like what's the right computer to get for a kid, something that is powerful enough to play Minecraft and maybe a few other games. But not super expensive, and a really good Linux box. And I keep thinking of like the NUC and stuff, but even that's pressing the price of what I want to pay. So this is an area I've been thinking about.
Very cool.
Maybe I need to do is just buy myself more computers and give them hand-me-downs.
Yeah, this is what he's hoping.
That's what I do.
yeah, right? That sounds like what Jed does too. And you know what? In a way, that's kind of what I've done with my smartphones. It's so straightforward with our first sponsor, Ting, because you only pay for what you use. So I can actually have them get like a little tablet, and then they just, whenever we go out on the road and if they have to do something that has data, which happens from time to time, I don't stress about having to have some sort of data plan. They just pay for it when they use it. Go over to linux.ting.com to check out our sponsor, Ting. I've been a Ting customer for over 2 years now. I've saved over $2,000, and I still recommend them every single day. I'm really happy, and I got to say, almost every month since I've been a Ting customer, I feel like there's something new for me to be excited about, something that Ting is bringing that I'm like they read my mind. And of course, the one I'm thinking of right now is the rollout of GSM. They've already sent out the first SIM cards to early GSM beta testers. You can actually go over and order one on the Ting store right now, and I got 2 of them. And I'm going to slide one in I'm going to reload my Nexus 5, get it all clean, just because I wanted to start fresh anyways. Or I'm going to try to talk Rikai into doing it. And then after Rikai does it, I'm going to put my new Ting GSM SIM in there. I'm going to rock Ting GSM for a while. And you only pay for what you use with Ting. They just take your messages, your minutes, and your megabytes. They add them all up, whatever bucket you fall into, that's what you pay at the end of the month. It's just $6 for the line. You're starting to see how much sense this makes when you can take advantage of CDMA or GSM. Plus, you then consider all of the value you get from an incredible dashboard and no-hold customer service. And Ting has a ton of great devices. I wanted to recommend also you check out their blog. They have a ton of great tips and tutorials over there. Like here's one. Turns out G Plus can be a huge data hog. The app on your phone, the G Plus app, can be a massive data hog. So they just have a quick tutorial on how to clean that up so you can keep G Plus, but maybe not have it use up as much data. Nice quick tips like that. Here's just an idea of devices. Right now, you can pick up an iPhone 4S from Ting for $130. That's it. You own it right there. No contract, no early termination fee. iPhone 4S, $130. What about the HTC Desire 510 Blue? Also, $130. Just added. A great HTC built phone for $130. Or if you want to go get the Cadillac, the HTC One, $340 over at Ting. And you own that phone. That's yours. And that is an amazing phone with an incredible screen, unbelievable speakers, and you might think that the universal remote that it has built in there is kind of gimmicky, but it's super cool, especially if you have kids and they lose the remote all the time because you can turn on stuff with your frickin' phone, and it really feels like the future. Plus, those front-facing speakers kind of alleviate the need for external speakers, so if you like to listen to podcasts on the go, or maybe like when you're doing something, you just want to set your phone down, like I set it down next to me when I'm doing dishes, and I can hear podcasts perfect with the HTC One. $340, you own that phone, it's yours from Ting. Isn't that neat? They have all kinds of great devices, including just SIM cards if you just want to put a CDMA or GSM SIM in your own device. Linux.ting.com. That supports the show and saves you $25 off your first Ting device. Or, if you have one you can bring, get your $25 credit. Linux.ting.com. And a big thanks to Ting for sponsoring Linux Unplugged. Great devices, great prices, and great stuff coming up. There's a Wolf writes in, and this one is kind of, I'm going to punt over to our Mumble Room to see if they have any experience with this. He wants to know, he says, hey, Chris and Matt, but I'm going to ask the Mumble Room, Matt, if you don't mind. He says, I've heard about ArchBSD. The site is an exact copy of the Linux homepage, but with some BSD modifications. It says the project is all about porting Pac-Man to FreeBSD, which they did back in 2010. And they say they keep following the KISS philosophy. I'm not a BSD guy at all, but this might actually be worth a try. However, he says, keep up the great work. He says he's practicing Markdown. He loves all the shows. So anyone in the Mumble Room have any experience with this ArchBSD thing?
A tiny bit.
Yeah? And?
It works. And it is BSD with Pac-Man on it. It's kind of compelling.
Interesting, yeah.
Is it current BSD?
That I couldn't say because I'm not so familiar with BSD to tell how current the underpinnings are. But in terms of the packages I could install in it, the packages were definitely current.
Too bad Alan's not here. I'm sure he'd have something to say.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd have some mocking to say. He'd say, "What's the point? That's what the port system is for. That's what package add is for."
Well, that's what the AUR is. Just a kind of ports tree, effectively, isn't it? Compiled from source ports tree.
Yeah, a better one.
Yeah, good. Well said.
Well, now they have package NG, which I think is a port of Debian Package Manager.
Well, it's similar, right? Like in functionality, I've only used it very little, so but FreeBSD, honestly, in a lot of ways, is doing it right. Yeah, you have the core system, and then you have the port system, and so I would imagine if you could add the AUR on top of that. The problem I would imagine, I have no idea, and having never used this, but it seems like a crap ton of stuff wouldn't build. Seems like a lot of stuff wouldn't build.
Why not?
Well, because it's just a totally different system. It's not an Arch system, and it's a totally. I mean, I don't know. I don't move around a lot, but it seems to me like it's already a little tenuous sometimes if stuff is going to build using AUR. It's not super tenuous, but you still have situations where stuff just fails to build because something's different. I guess if you had a completely separate copy of the AUR and you could modify all the package builds, and I guess if you totally had a separate AUR, then I could see it working. But it doesn't seem like it would be as beneficial because it wouldn't be as popular. Am I missing something here?
No. I mean, I don't know about. I think cross-platform compatibility won't be such a big issue for most projects. I think most things all port almost seamlessly. I think a lot of the upstream developers these days pay attention to making sure their stuff works on other platforms other than just Linux.
I suppose that problem's getting less and less as FreeBSD gets more unpopular.
Yeah, and if you look at projects like Arch Linux ARM, for example, they pull in the Arch Linux packages and they just replace the i686 and x86-64 architecture flags for ARM6 hard float and ARM7 hard float, and things just flow in, and 99 times out of 100, stuff just works.
But why would you have the AUR? I mean, it would take
it's not
the
just
focus
the
away
AUR.
from ports.
It's not just the AUR. They've actually got the community and extra repositories. So they're binary distributions of the packages rather than everything compiled from source.
Yeah, I suppose the way I look at FreeBSD and OpenBSD, because I mainly float around the OpenBSD world, you're better off getting those resources that want to work on an AUR to sort of come on board and submit patches into the ports tree and then maintain ports, because then that way it gets a lot more coverage, a lot more visibility, and a lot more testing. You have a lot more people looking over the code that you're submitting as a port, and then that way, you've got a better balance of quality.
Most of the Arch derivatives just use the AUR without any abstraction, though, because by adding a few architecture flags to a package in the AUR, it's applicable to ARM and PowerPC hardware for those architectures and those spin-off projects that support those platforms.
I find it to be interesting, but it to me never seems like it's something that would go mainstream. But because it seems like
it is interesting. It's not for me, but it's kind of fun to tinker with.
Yeah, like it could maybe be, for somebody, it could be like the perfect setup for a lot of somebody's even. All right, so I want to talk about. There was a couple of quick things I wanted to mention. I have this XPS 13 laptop. I'll give that just a quick overview. And then also, if anybody out in the audience has considerable audio production editing, like with music and creating sequences potentially even, and laying that down to an audio track and things like that, and multi-track editing, send in a shout me. Just send me a shout, Chris@JupiterBroadcasting.com. Let's talk. That was one thing I had, and there was another item. But I forget what it was. But I'll think of it as the show goes on. But there's another item, a topic of business that I need to talk to the audience about. But why don't I mention while I'm thinking about it, this XPS 13, because that's what's got my attention right now. So I didn't actually expect to get this until that halfway into February. So when somebody rang the doorbell, my response is, "Who the hell is that? What is?" That was a joke.
Matt came by to troll you.
Right. So I go down there, and of course it's a small box. And I thought, well, this can't be the laptop because it doesn't come in a box. It's like this small little box. But no, it was the actual laptop. And it came with Windows 8.1 installed. And I normally, if I was buying this for myself, I probably wouldn't buy a Dell to begin with. That was a question that came up on the subreddit. It's like I kind of bought this for two reasons. The first reason is we have a machine that's going to be getting replaced here in the studio, and this could go there if it meets all expectations. But the real reason I wanted to get this is I think this is going to be, from a hardware design standpoint, people who love Lenovo. But if you're not a Lenovo fan, or maybe you want something else, I think this is going to be the laptop to beat build-wise. I think this is a MacBook Pro killer, really. This screen is better than what's shipping on the Macs right now. The resolution's fantastic. The edge-to-edge glass is super nice. It really looks good. Plus, it's a touch screen, which it's not like a big deal for me, but it's an augmented way to do input. The keyboard's nice. The trackpad's nice. The button reach is good. The build is very sturdy, but it's light. I feel like it doesn't give it all when I'm holding it with one hand and shaking it, and I don't hear any moving parts. Everything's solid, which is really cool. And it's got two USB 3 ports on it. It has a display port, SD in, and audio out. It also has a little battery gauge button on the side that you can press. Speakers are also on the side. I haven't had a good chance to test them yet. And the battery life, when I took it out of the box, said 14 hours remaining. I didn't leave it unplugged because Antergos bitches at you during the installation. So, and the keys light up, and the keyboard does feel quite nice. The top has this sort of pattern etched into it that it feels good. It's not overdone. It's not irritating, but it feels good on the hand. It's kind of got feels like a carbon kind of stamping. The hinge is very strong. I'm shaking it right now, and it doesn't give at all. So I think from a portable, tiny Linux rig, I think this could be a killer unit. Right now, I'm fighting with the wireless, and I think if you were to buy the developer edition is what they're probably going to call it when it ships, you'd probably wouldn't have to worry about things like wireless. They'll probably just put it
They'll
like an Intel
probably
chip.
give you Intel or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll give this further. I'll use this more. The things that really jumped out at me so far is the speed's great. I got an i7 in there with 8 gigs of RAM, and the display is very vibrant. It really pops. I don't know how things are going to work high DPI wise. GNOME itself looks real good. You know what I'll do here real quick is I'll fire up Chrome. Because I'm thinking where I'm gonna, and the terminal looks really good. So that's kind of the only apps I've used so far is just GNOME and the terminal. But I'm firing up Chrome right now, and we'll see how that looks. Let's see. Yeah, Chrome's a little small.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
okay.
it's a little small. I think there's some tweaks in the config you can do, but yeah, it's definitely a little on the small side.
Yeah, you can scale it.
Yeah. So I'll have to do some of that. So I'll experiment with all of that. So I'll have a full report on Linux and high DPI support and what tweaks I had to do, wireless tweaks I had to do, and stuff like that. Hopefully, I'll get it all straightened out. And then if you guys make the purchase, by the time you buy it, I'll have a full report on if it's worth your money or not. And that's really the reason why I wanted to get it now. And the price of Bitcoin was totally crashing. There you go. I'll give you my full impressions very soon. I got the one with the 3200 by 1800 resolution. I did that on purpose because in a lot of our distro reviews, one of the areas I felt like we didn't really touch on a lot, because we couldn't, is how it handles a high-resolution display. High-resolution displays are here. High DPI is a real thing in 2015, and a lot of laptops across the line are going to start shipping with it. So it's time for Linux to really step up and have good support for that. So I think it's time to incorporate that. It's not going to be a deal breaker for the reviews, but I think it's kind of important to incorporate that in the review so you know if this is a distribution or a desktop environment or whatever it is we're talking about, that it will look good on a high DPI display. So that's another reason I got this too, so I can speak to the audience from that standpoint too. There you go.
I think it makes sense to come up with some common set of criteria that people could test their laptop against, like a list of all the things you should check.
Yeah, like
because I know that's something we tried to come up with for a different open source operating system whose name I won't say just because. Anyway,
would that
the problem becomes everybody goes and tries and tests things, but they always forget to test the thing that matters to you, right? The thing that, like, high DPI, they might not consider that. Or,
yeah, right, yeah.
They didn't consider, does this feature work, and how granular is the backlight control or whatever. And it just seems like it would make sense to come up with a big set of common criteria that anyone, when they bought a laptop, could just run all their laptop through all these tests and post the results, so that you kind of crowdsource the information gathering, since you can't buy every model of laptop to do this with.
Right. Yeah. Crowdsourcing reviews would be interesting. I'm looking at the myfixguide.com teardown, and it looks like not only is the bottom pretty removable, but the wireless LAN card is right there front and center and labeled very generously by Dell.
Yeah, they're usually like mini PCIe now,
yep.
Right?
And it doesn't look like it's too buried. It looks like it's just you take off those 8 Torx screws and then there you go.
Well, so if you do get one that doesn't have wireless that works, like I think that's the problem you're having with yours, right?
Yeah.
The Intel Centrino 6205 is like $19 at Newegg.
Yeah, I might just get that anyways, just so that way when I reinstall, I don't have to fight it, even if I can get it working.
Yeah.
And here's the SSD storage right there too. Just so the storage and the wireless look like they're really easy to interchange. So I like that a lot. So cool. So I'll give you an update because I literally just took it out of the box before the show started. I put it into Windows once. Oh, yep, there's a better shot of the wireless card right there. Yeah, that's going to be a really easy swap out.
I think that OS that Alan was referring to just a little bit ago rhymes with CDFB.
No, that doesn't ring a bell, Eric. I don't.
Okay.
See what?
I think he's talking about Haiku.
Yeah,
that must be. No, BUS.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Gosh, guys. The question, Marky asked, what's the Markdown editor I use? It's called Harupad. Harupad's really great. And there's other ones, too.
For us?
What's that? Harupad? Yeah, sure. It's H-A... let me pull it up right here. Of course, it doesn't just say.
Even Chris doesn't know how to spell it.
No, it's just I want to make sure I get it right. Haroopad. And this is it right here on my screen. This is today's episode of Tech Talk Today on my screen, and you see in one column is my Markdown code, and the other column is the output. But you're like, okay, that's not too neat, Chris. A lot of Markdown editors do that. What's really cool about this Markdown editor is you can go into the settings and you can go pull down your CSS files from your website and have the stuff in the preview rendered with your website's real CSS, and you can really see what it's going to look like on your website. That is really cool because, for example, the Jupiter Broadcasting website, it renders quotes slightly different than other websites render quotes, just the way the block quote looks. So it's nice to have that. So yeah, it's HaruPad, and it's a bit of a monster. It's written on top of Node.js, but it has all of, like, under the insert menu, it has all of the markdown, like all your basic markdown stuff all ready to go, and these are also hotkeyed. You can pull up in the help menu, it has all the key commands. And so, like, for example, Control-Shift-I inserts an image, Control-Shift-Q makes everything a quote, Control-4 is a heading 4, Control-2 is a heading 2. So it's really nice and makes it really fast to rip through markdown. So it's HaruPad, and we've talked about it before. I've made it a pick a long time ago on last, so it's probably also linked in the last picks. So there you go. If you can stomach Node.js. You won't even know. It's all like a self-contained Chromium app.
I think you should do it just for the shortcuts alone. I mean, because shortcuts rock.
Yeah.
I love shortcuts. I'm all about the keyboard.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you want to practice your markdown, we have openyourmouth.recipes, which are open source GPL community recipes written in markdown. It's a great place to scratch that markdown itch. And HaruPad, you could write in there and then post it up on our GitHub page, openyourmouth.recipes. Open source recipes from the community. Hey, Matt, if you're going to say maybe you want to have your own GitLab or host your own Ghost installation, or maybe you want to just mess around with FreeBSD, well, then our next sponsor might have something that could interest you. That's DigitalOcean. Yes, DigitalOcean's a great place to go to get your own cloud server. They're a simple cloud hosting provider dedicated to offering the most intuitive and easy way for you to spin up your own cloud server. You'll get root access to it, powered by Linux and KVM. You can get started in less than 55 seconds. Jay emailed me today. 23 seconds was his spin-up time. He got it all set up in 23 seconds. That is nuts. And pricing plans start only $5 a month for 512 megabytes of RAM, a 20 gigabyte SSD, one CPU, and a freaking terabyte of transfer. Oh my gosh, I cannot even, this just blows my mind. I've been around for a long time. This is just, I cannot, I remember a time in a data center when I had a colo rig and I spent over $1,500 for a terabyte of transfer in a single month. DigitalOcean has data center locations in New York, San Francisco, Singapore, Amsterdam, and London, and their interface is amazing. It's so simple and intuitive and extremely powerful at the same time. Like they didn't water it down. Like you can do your DNS management. You can take your backup snapshots. You can resize your images. You can add RAM. You can move them. You can transfer them. Like you can do console HTML5 level access, even watch the boot up screen from post all the way up to your main Linux rig. Or FreeBSD. It's so cool. And they've got CoreOS as well. And they've got this API that the community has just written a ton of great stuff for. You could write your own stuff for it and, extend the functionality of the dashboard however you like, snap into whatever you need to snap it into for management. But I just take advantage of all the great apps that have been written. DigitalOcean.com. Go over there. Use our promo code DO Unplugged. DO Unplugged. That's one word, lowercase. DO Unplugged will get you a $10 credit. You can try out the $5 rig, no credit card needed, for free. Go try out a Minecraft installation. BitTorrent Sync. SyncThing. OwnCloud is crazy easy, and they've got tutorials for everything. If you get stuck on anything, they've got great tutorials. So once you get the rig spun up, you're ready to go. DigitalOcean.com. Please use our promo code DO Unplugged to support the Linux Unplugged show. Keep your favorite Linux talk show going every single week by supporting our sponsor. And why not just decloud yourself a little bit? Take a look at what you have up in the cloud, what third-party services you're using, and ask yourself, could I easily move that over? This week's episode of Coda Radio, Mike was giving some tips on ways to save money for development and primarily a great way to push updates out to your websites and stuff. Totally for free once you set up the DigitalOcean droplet. It was a great tip, and it's another great example of the things you can use DigitalOcean for. We've got it running a whole bunch of Ruby. We've got it running our BitTorrent for the back-end syncing of all of the unfiltered stuff, which is nuts. I mean, we have hundreds of syncs going on there. It's all running off DigitalOcean droplets. It's really awesome. It's unbelievably good. It's just an incredible great value, and the management is so straightforward. DigitalOcean.com. Use the promo code DO Unplugged. Try it out for a little bit and see what I've been talking about, and support the show. DigitalOcean.com. DO Unplugged. And a big thanks to DigitalOcean for sponsoring the Linux Unplugged program. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this Vivaldi browser because everybody's writing about it, everybody's talking about it, chat room's been going about it. It's not a tablet, it's a Chromium-powered, multi-platform browser. It's making some waves, if that's still a thing. It's supported by Linux, Windows, and OS X. It's currently offered as a tech preview, so it's got Chromium under the hood, but a bunch of features that sort of remind you maybe of Opera during its glory days. Among them is speed dial and mouse gestures. Also new features like allowing multiple tabs to be combined into a single stack, support for note-taking within the browser, you need to take notes on a website, and other improvements to the Chromium base. Started by a former CEO of Opera, who has not been with Opera for years. They plan in the future to include things like mail built in, sync, spatial navigation, greater performance. They want to be the fastest browser in the universe, they say, extensions, and other community features. And it's available right now for Linux. I have it installed right here if you're watching the show. Matt, are you ready for another browser?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. You know what we need? We need another browser, and preferably one that's based on an existing browser, because then we can really hit. Jeez. I'm gonna not be cynical about it. It could be awesome. It really could. I'm gonna just hold my hopes out.
Well, okay, I'll play devil's advocate. I mean, I kind of agree with you, but if we accept that maybe Blink and WebKit are as good as we're going to get for a little while, then maybe it is good that the innovation's done more at the UI, because I think you and I both have lamented the browsers really suck still. Like, there's not a browser either one of us are like totally jazzed up like, man, I just love Chrome, or I love Firefox, or like I use Firefox, I use Chrome.
So for me, it's like from a UI perspective, and this is excluding bookmarks because that's a separate issue. From a UI perspective, Firefox makes me want to eat bags of glass, and Chromium and Chrome are frankly just more pleasant to use. Now, that being said, Firefox performance destroys Chrome and Chromium because it sucks on Linux. And then you have bookmarks, which is a completely separate issue, because the problem with bookmarks is, hi, 1995, can I have my browsers, please? I mean, or, my bookmarks, please? I mean, this is stupid. The bookmarking system is what really needs to evolve, more so than the, in my opinion. Bookmarks suck. I add stuff. I've got bookmarks from like 2002 in there. I don't even know what they are. What is this?
I do like the UI. I think it's very nice, but they're not bringing a lot of new stuff to the team, I mean, and they don't have all of my plugins that I want to use. It seems pretty fast. The UI is okay.
It actually does have a few specific features that I've never seen in anything else.
All right, lay it on me, sir.
UI changes.
Okay.
And if you press F2, have you ever used what is it? That little fucking text editor. It actually has a little command UI. You can press F2 and you can do commands.
Yeah, it does support like hotkey navigation and stuff. Yeah.
Yes, that. I've never seen that in anywhere else. But also, since Opera has done a lot of those weird little browser enhancements, it's got little tab UI. You can drag the top down and see previews of your tabs or hover over them, which is what the old Opera used to do.
Oh, that is nice.
But it's actually quite interesting.
Ooh, I like the way it displays your current tab, too. It's really easy to see which is the current active tab. Okay.
For the first implementation, it's not so bad.
This is actually, the way they color the tabs is actually kind of smart.
It's chameleonic depending on the
whole top bar changes.
Yep. Take a look at the whole top bar.
Everything changes.
That's
I gave a screenshot of Jupiter Broadcast.
Those tab
your
stacks
icon
are
color.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Oh yes, there is some
Firefox
interesting
has
bits
tab
about
groups.
it.
Yeah,
so tab stacks in their words, yeah. But
I think tab stacks I like better because you can see it right by hovering over, and for me tab stacks is easier than tab groups because tab groups are put off somewhere else. They're hidden in a way, whereas tab stacks are just right here. And the way they demonstrate the lines so you can see how many tabs are in this stack is really clever too.
Well, I mean,
You can
tab
actually
groups are kind
drag
of a
down
different
right above
paradigm
the
anyway.
URL bar. You can actually have a little thing, like the little drag down, and you can drag down the top and have visual pieces of tabs right up at the top. And their settings looks very deep in our Pardue-ish.
Oh, I
The
see
settings
what you're
manager
saying.
is very interesting.
Oh, look at that! You can just get a little peek too. You can just have a little peek of the. That's really cool.
Yes, it's the old Opera. It's coming back. The guys with the real balls are actually
cool.
putting their
And
ideas forth again.
I don't know how much you guys have used it, but I've been using it all today, and it is super fast.
This is the first time I've tried it.
After Chrome and Firefox, this is refreshingly quick. It feels like 2015 on the internet, the speed at which.
Ooh, and you can put the tabs on the
pages are
left
rendering.
side, which is really nice for wide screens.
Actually, you can remove the tabs. Completely say none. No tabs at all.
Yeah.
There's no other one I've seen which can remove the tabs.
Chris, this is one of the reasons that people that used to use Opera are so passionate about it is because they do things in a completely fundamentally different way, and when you get used to it, going to a standard Firefox or a standard Chrome browser is just, it feels clunky.
I'm digging all the key commands.
So Wimpy says it's super fast. I find that's the case on a brand new clean install of Chrome, Chromium, Firefox, or basically insert name of browser here. As soon as you start using it and fill in some
throw in some
plugins,
extensions,
yeah, throw some extensions in there, and then all your bookmarks, and then you start visiting a load of pages, they all slow down to a bag of crap, all of them.
No, if you take a fresh Chrome or a fresh Firefox and you don't fill it with the shit ton of plugins that you use, Popey. I don't use a shit ton.
I have like 3 plugins on all my browsers, and they all run like you're swimming in treacle.
If you go for a plugin-less Chrome or Firefox and compare the speed that this renders pages and visit pages that you've not been to in any of the browsers, this is very, very quick at rendering pages.
Dude,
much,
are we
much
doing
faster.
another browser challenge? Is there another browser challenge?
Another thing to consider,
I've not been that excited about a new browser since I first started using Chrome in 2008. This is really good. Really good. Shall I tell you the one drawback?
Sure.
Of this?
Sounds amazing.
The user interface is basically Amiga OS 3.5.
Yeah,
it's so flat. It's 1999, but other than that, it's brilliant.
I like the loading bar too.
I think the other thing,
the little command thing. You can press F2 and it'll give you a Sublime Text command UI.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. That is the neatest. Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
Can you hear that, guys?
There's features in this that are very unusual.
Look there's all my tabs, and then here's all of the commands I could do. Oh my gosh, this is so cool.
But the other thing to consider is that one of the reasons Firefox can slow down over time is because you're building up that SQLite database for the Awesome Bar and a bunch of other stuff. So if you feel your browser is slow, try a fresh profile.
Well,
it's not necessarily just plugins that make it slow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you compare this alongside a fresh profile.
Oh, this isn't Firefox.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I said just now, which is any browser which is super clean is good, and then after you use it for a while, it turns to shit.
But you were saying it was the plugins that were the fault, and usually it's not necessarily the plugins.
That's everyone else. That I missed is the ad blocker.
Have you seen how
a lot of it is the databases and stuff, and maybe we should find something better.
I noticed
the value store in our browsers.
It's a nice little touch.
Yeah.
The navigational buttons, back, home, reload, and all of that.
Yeah.
As you visit a website, it automatically themes those controls to the color profile of the website that you're viewing. I mean, it's for a debut, for a technical preview, this is really polished and very slick.
Yeah.
And I've already mentioned on their forum to open source this thing as much as they can, because I want them to, because this is pretty darn interesting.
Yeah, that is the thing we have to talk about. That's the elephant in the room, is that it's not open now. Blink, or whatever, Chromium, or whatever you're going to say it's based on is, but the Chrome around it is not.
And the thing is
Opera
that
is the same situation.
I'm trying to, put their balls in a vice to get them to open their code.
Well, I guess the question is, how do they make a business out of it then?
Donations, like most open source projects, depending unless they're going to sell their code to the Wii again, like they used to the old Opera.
So, Wimpy, you think it's a bigger deal than we're giving it credit because the browser is the new OS? You think this is a huge thing?
Yeah, this is precisely my point. I think that from this point onward, the browser is the operating system, and Chromebooks have proven that point over the last year more than anything else. And I think having a choice in our browser options is as important as having choice over our operating systems.
I would agree. The only reason internet browsers got better is because we've had competition. Otherwise, we'd all still be stuck with...
Quite.
I don't know why.
Healthy competition is a good thing.
Yeah.
May the best browser win.
Yeah. And
the best browser help everyone else.
And I think this is one to watch, and I like that they launched with cross-platform support out of the bag. I think that's a really good sign. I don't think it's going to make me switch. Well, maybe. I mean, it depends on where the plugin direction goes. I really like, I see the thing is that that launcher that it has, I could probably go get that for any browser with an extension, but I do like that a lot. That is really cool. So it's the Vivaldi browser. We'll have a link in the show notes if you guys want to check it out. That sounds like a lot of you have been trying it, though. So I'm going to keep it around for a little bit. I need things like tab sync and all kinds of fancy stuff, though. I really am pretty demanding.
I would kill. All I want is better bookmark handling. That's all I want. And I've tried the plugins, and I've tried all these hacks and variations. And everybody's got the new. What? No, it's crap. It's crap. It's still the same old.
What is the problem with bookmarks, though?
It's just a menu list. It's just.
I have 5,000 plus of them, and I'd like to make heads and tails out of them. You know what I mean? It's like
I have Firefox bookmarks because I actually can't not use Firefox because of the bookmark structure is so awesome with the keywords searching. Where I can just jump back and forth with just using commands.
Yeah. I
need something to audit my bookmarks.
I think there's probably a self-help group for Matt. For people like Matt who have thousands of bookmarks.
Yeah.
I personally have zero. I just don't use bookmarks. I just use Google really well.
Yeah, I have some.
I have about 1,000.
I use Pinboard as a third-party service I can access from any computer in any browser by logging in.
That might be an option.
Yahoo failed as an entity because they tried to catalog the internet by themselves. So why would you try and single-handedly
do the same? They tried to do it with humans was the problem.
Yeah. All right. I will give...
LastPass's Xmarks has some kind of auditing the stuff with bookmarks.
I'll give, because Alex has been wanting to say it 100 times, Alex, you wanted to say something from the perspective of a Firefox user.
I've been using Firefox with a lot of tabs and a lot of bookmarks. For me, bookmarks are like my own personal search engine. What I would like one day would be to have Yacy integrated into Firefox and have a real search engine in my browser.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And about tabs, the old Opera version 12 and the current Firefox are the only browsers that support over 200 tabs. I usually have around 100 open tabs at some point, and
you need help.
The maximum I reached is around 600.
Wow.
At some point.
Wow.
That is respectable. That is. And I've heard a few other people. I had a client that always had a whole bunch of browser windows open, a whole bunch. I always get worried. I always get worried that my browser is going to die on me and that I'll lose all that. I don't have faith in the auto restore system, so that's what I actually use bookmarks for. Is I use just mainly my menu bar and I just stash stuff in there. But
right.
All right. So Matt, we have a surprise for you that I want to get to. But before we do that, I got something really exciting to talk about. That's Linux Academy, sponsor of the Linux Unplugged show. And Linux Academy is always rolling out tons of new features. So that's why I want to encourage you to go over to linuxacademy.com/unplugged and take advantage of our discount. They've just rolled out a new Ruby course, which is perfect for me because, Matt, I'm going to go, I don't know if I'm crazy, but I'm going to go teach myself Ruby.
And
I hadn't decided. I was on the fence. And then Linux Academy was like, yeah, we got a new course on Ruby. I'm like, all right, well, now I feel like I've been given the pathway to follow. I can't really mess it up if I go with Linux Academy. I want you to go check them out, too. linuxacademy.com/unplugged. Get you our special Unplugged discount. They got step-by-step video courses for everything you're doing, comprehensive study guides you can download, going to break you out time estimates of how long each stuff's going to take. It comes with your own server as the lab course requires it, spins it right up, whatever Linux distribution you've chosen. That's what the server OS is. And, of course, all the courseware just kind of adapts to match that. And I think that's a pretty nice feature if you're maybe moving from one distro to another, like if you switch jobs from a Red Hat place to an Ubuntu place or Debian to CentOS, something like that. You get to keep track of your progress as you're going. Right as you log in, the dashboard will give you a percentage heads up of where you're at with your different stuff, how long the next section is going to take you. They have learning plans. You go in there and say, hey, I got this much time on Monday, this much time on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I can allocate this much time, generate me a plan, and Linux Academy's system will create a custom plan that matches that schedule that you've laid out with reminder systems to keep you going. Plus, as a Jupiter Broadcasting community member, you'll meet lots of like-minded folks who are there from Jupiter Broadcasting in the community and can give you a bump when you're kind of slowing down a little bit. Also, go make sure you check out their new Docker courseware. There's not another technology that's hotter right now in the Linux space, and they've got great stuff. Great courseware on Docker. Also, Vagrant virtualization options up the Wuzang from KVM to Zen. They got it all. You guys should go check it out at Linux Academy. Ruby, Android development, OpenStack, the whole DevOps category they've got courseware for over at Linux Academy. It's a really valuable service. linuxacademy.com/unplugged. Go check them out and support your favorite talk show, Linux Unplugged. That's a big thank you to Linux Academy for sponsoring the Linux Unplugged show. linuxacademy.com/unplugged. Thanks, you guys, and thanks to all the audience members who support Linux Unplugged. Okay, Matt. So for those who, I think there's probably a portion of folks who watch this show or listen to the show that don't watch or listen to last. And so for those who are not current, this Sunday, the episode that just aired was Matt's last official day as co-host, although I'm sure he'll be back to the show from time to time to visit. Oh, yeah. And he's launching with producer Q5Sys, who's here today as well, the rebirth, the raising from the ashes of our How to Linux show, better, focused, stronger than before. And Matt,
yeah,
we thought we'd do a little parting tradition as a send-off for the years of great service on the Linux Action Show right here on Unplugged for our last segment of the show. And so I'm going to kick it off. You may have heard there's this great new graphics card that's out there on the market. In fact, Phoronix just gave it a great review for Linux gamers. It's called the GeForce GTX 960. It uses the latest Maxwell GPU from NVIDIA. And so I, as a thank you to Matt, and now it's here at the studio, Matt, but I ordered you a brand new video card, a GTX 960, so you can try out the 960 in a Linux rig and give us a report back on how it works here on the Unplugged show, because now on Sundays you're going to need to get some gaming picked up. And some folks in the Mumble Room, to kind of sweeten the deal a little bit, are going to send some Steam games that they have available in the library. So, and I want to encourage anybody in the audience, too, that wants to help Matt put his new NVIDIA 960 card to use. I have Matt's Steam profile linked in the show notes. It's Iron Spanking Matt, which is, I don't know, where's Iron Spanking come from, Matt? Is that like a metal reference?
Oh, that was actually a little bit. No, it was actually an Unreal Tournament thing. Back when I was really playing that, someone felt like there's like a backstory to it. Basically, long and short of it, it's an Unreal Tournament, iron spanking kind of deal.
So I thought a good way to do would be to get you to waste a bunch of time. So the audience and I came together, and Blaster chipped in too on the video card here. So that'll be here in the studio next time when you come down to shoot your first batch of How to Linux. You can leave with the new GTX 960.
Oh, that is awesome! Thanks, appreciate that.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
I think you'll have.
It's really cool.
Then just give us a report here on Unplugged in the future of how it went.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, man.
And watch out for Steam games coming your way. I think a few folks in the audience are going to send you some.
Yeah, I'm still sorting through email, and I've actually got a couple thanks to send out. So
cool.
Appreciate that.
And then you'll keep us posted on when How to Linux launches, which we'll have probably in February sometime. Q5, is there anything you want to jump in at this point before we move off from that topic? You good? Going once?
Just that if anybody has ideas for good topics, send them in.
Yeah,
that's about it.
There you go. Okay. Very good. And we'll have ways to do that too. And I think we still have the How to Linux email account you can email as well, or you can ping us in the subreddit. We're checking that, or email Matt or Q5.
Yeah.
Either way, there's a lot of ways to get in your suggestions, and we'll come up with some official ways to submit them into the show. I know we've had some like spreadsheets in the past, but we'll figure it out. So Matt, enjoy the new gaming setup. Get you up
definitely.
You now got a way nicer video card than I've got, I think.
I was to say that's
hard.
Really styling.
That's hard, Matt. I was like, but then I was like, no, it's a nice partying gift. It's have fun with this.
That's awesome.
Steam. And then on Sunday's show, I actually don't have the full show planned out yet, but Noah is landing in the Pacific Northwest probably Thursday, depending on his work schedule, and he'll be in studio for Sunday's Linux Action Show. And I'm probably going to take him out to dinner and stuff like that. So I don't know what all our plans are, but I think it's going to be a really fun show on Sunday. We'll have some shenanigans that we'll probably have planned by Sunday. So we'll have Noah in studio to kick off his new reign as co-host on the show. And we'll update you guys on the How to Linux progress as we've got it. I think it's coming along quite well. So we'll probably have an update very soon. Okay.
Very cool.
All right. Well, and thanks to everybody who sent the stuff to Matt. We were talking about it on Tech Talk after today. We were scheming while still on the air, and I wasn't sure if you were listening or not. I didn't think you were. I thought we were safe because it was,
No, I was obliviously. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I was actually. I think I was picking up dog do at the time. But yeah, my glamorous life as a co-host of Unplugged.
I like that. That's good. I think that's a good note.
You'd rather do that than listen to Chris's other show?
I think that's. You could do both at the same time. You could do both at the same time.
You can. Yeah, you can. You can. Although it's an art form to pick up the poo.
You just go over to jblive.info on your portable device, and we've got high bitrate and low bitrate audio streams. Or you can go to jblive.tv if you're on the Wi-Fi where you're out there picking up the poop, Matt. So there you go. It's a little Tech Talk tip. That is the Tech Talk show. We do that in the mornings. You guys should check that out. But hey, don't forget. Who cares about Tech Talk? Join us next Tuesday for the episode 78 of Linux Unplugged. Come get it in. If you've never made a live show, get it in before we hit episode 80. You got a little bit of time left. We do the show on Tuesday, and if I don't see you on Tuesday, hope to see you on Sunday. Bye, everybody. Matt, picking up poop like a good neighbor should.
Well, after a while, you step in it so many times. It's just a sanitary thing for the dogs. I don't want to.
Everybody needs their own pooper scooper.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. No, I'm old school. You get yourself a bag, be a man, bend over, pick that stuff up.
I don't understand why are we wasting our times on Roombas when this is a job that could be done by robots. I don't get it.
There's actually a poop 911 business here in town. For people who don't want to pick up their own, apparently.
All right, jbtitles.com. jbtitles.com.
Yeah, Matt, they have those on the East Coast. It's called Duty Calls.
Nice. I like that.
The fourth browser. The fourth browser is not bad. Mm-hmm. The fourth browser is not bad. All right, you guys go over there. JB Titles, go boat. I had a little shout out. I noticed a thread in the subreddit that needs more love. A day ago, Stofalov2 submitted, "What does your prompt look like?" And he submitted his. And we got a few other folks. There's 12 comments in here, but not a lot of pictures. So I want to look at people's desktop porn. So if you would go over to that subreddit post, and I'll have it linked in the post show notes. Go submit your desktop. I like looking at people's desktops. I even tried to do an episode of it once. It's in the subreddit. I'll link to it in the IRC right now, and I'll have it linked in the show notes for this episode of Unplugged. But I like looking at people's desktops so much. I tried to make an episode out of it, and it was like a super boring episode. so I don't do it anymore, but I still like looking at them. So go over there so I can I get ideas, and I just got a new laptop.
But just for reference, when Angela did it, it was an exciting show.
I know,
exactly.
I know.
Right?
Because she does it with awards. I don't have awards. I just gawk. But I got a new laptop to set up, so I want inspiration.
I've actually converted my KDE setup to look like GNOME.
Oh, geez. Oh, that's where it starts. And by the way, I have 931 unread Reddit messages. So if you message me on Reddit,
good grief.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't mean to ignore you, but at a certain point, I can only respond to so many different communication methods. Same with Facebook. I don't really respond on Facebook either. Okay. jbtitles.com. Vivaldi, the fourth browser. Is that too long? What about just the fourth browser?
It just seems like it because it's 4 words, but...
Yeah, all right. I do like having Vivaldi in the title.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go with that. Nicely done, Wimpy. Nicely done.
Just take out
You're welcome.
I'm glad you had a chance to kick the tires, too, because you guys had some great tips for me to check out, because I literally just installed it before the show, or during the pre-show, and it's pretty nice.
I think I'm going to live with this for a good little while, because it's really terrific.
Well, I'm going to check back in with you then.
Oh, jeez, Wimpy, get a room.
Well, I'm usually a miserable old curmudgeon. I found something that's really it's new and it's good. What is it? The Luddites say this is the antithesis, the opposite of that. Some change is progress.
Popey, don't judge. It makes him happy. And
I know, Alan. Don't ruin my mood. You've been super helpful the last 2 days. Don't make me all grouchy and miserable coming in here and bitching at me.